Did you think that launching an online business would be easy? Oh, fuck. I did. I thought that because I had channeled a book and I had received such clear guidance to put myself out there and grow an online business, that it was going to flow with ease and grace. And I did build a YouTube channel with 19,000 followers and a 6-figure business sharing my spiritual gifts, but it was a soul-crushing grind. I wish I'd known how to do it smarter and easier. So to help you make starting your business easier, today I want to share with you 20 things that I wish I had known about growing my business as a spiritual woman. And I hope this will save you from making the same epic fails and soul-crushing mistakes that I made in the process. Lesson 1. I worked at my business for years because I had a message that mattered to me. I was on a mission to share something powerful with the world, but it wasn't until I was in Europe traveling that I became tired of being broke. I wanted to be able to stay at nice places, to get myself all the food that I needed. And it was a very uncomfortable time where I was having to spend hours on Airbnb trying to find places to stay that were within my budget. Everything that I looked at was sketchy. Up until that point, I had been so mission driven that I didn't really care about making money. But on that trip, I decided I wanted a good income from my work. I admitted to myself that making money was important to me. Shortly after that, I broke through to consistent 3 to 5K months, and I met a string of mentors that helped me break through to 10K months. So if you don't actually want money, your business will never work. Build desire inside of yourself. Admit you want money. Decide that you're going to do it. Spiritual women come to me all the time that don't prioritize making money. They're not motivated by money. And while that's beautiful, they actually feel disempowered about their livelihood. And disempowerment is on a different frequency than true service and empowerment. You can't stay disempowered about money and help the world in the way that you're meant to. You need to decide. Lesson 2. Last year, I interviewed 50 spiritual women about their biggest dreams and fears. These women were from all walks of life, and they had one thing in common, which was they had a calling to make an impact in the world, and most of them weren't actively doing it. Over and over, I heard the same fears. What will they think? Who do they think I am? What if I'm not qualified enough? After hearing the same fears over and over and over, I simply could not buy into these fears anymore. It lit a fire in me to help these women overcome these fears. And many of them did decide to work with me to help them dissolve their fears. And it was absolutely magical. So this lesson is your fears aren't original. They're boring. They're average. Everyone has them and they aren't true. So don't let them stop you. Lesson 3. The one client came to me with a massive fear about putting herself out there online. She was terrified of visibility, and she was trained in this really beautiful healing modality with emotions. And she knew that her next step was to start sharing it and putting herself out there. She used a simple tool that I taught her to address her fears. She never came to the group coaching calls, but when I spoke to her a few months later, she had an Instagram and she was posting on it as if it was nothing. Her fears were so irrelevant at that point that she hardly remembered that she was ever afraid. So this lesson is even your deepest fears can be cleared in a simple 15 minutes of concentrated, skillful attention to overcome them. Lesson 4. One client I worked with had a government job that she didn't like, and she was living out a victim dynamic in her workplace. We were in a session and she was complaining about her coworker when I pointed this out to her. It was a light bulb moment because she decided that she didn't want to play the victim anymore. Within a year, she'd quit her job, started her business, and now, 10 years later, she's never looked back. You can't be a successful victim. You have to choose success or victimhood. Lesson 5. Sheena had a very strong predictability field. She had a steady 9-to-5 job, a wonderful family, established routines. She felt a bit numb going about her life and didn't realize that her past was actually keeping her stuck. When I explained to her the difference between creating in the field of predictability versus in the field of possibility, she began to open up to possibility. Her life started rearranging with this new job, a new leadership position, and more joy. She began healing and she came alive. Now she's creating a beautiful brand and is putting herself out there consistently. You don't create a new possibility from dwelling in a predictability mindset. New possibilities start with a courageous inner shift in opening up to what could be, and that's the unknown. Lesson 6. When the first cohort of the program I lead called Freedom to Launch finished, only one of the 9 women decided to keep going with group support and to stay in the container. So she continued to take action towards her business and focus on her next steps. And now it's been, I think, 4 or 5 months, and she now has a YouTube channel. She has a bunch of videos on it. She's created an offer. She's created a freebie. Those who didn't continue actually stopped taking their next steps, a lot of them. The lesson is those who succeed just stay focused on one next step. Keep taking that next step and don't stop. Lesson 7. When I started my YouTube channel, my sound and video quality weren't very good. My videos were really long-winded. My editing was bad. I felt awkward and really judgmental of how I looked on camera. Filming took me ages. I did it anyway, and I built a 19,000 subscriber channel and a 6-figure business this way. Don't wait until you're good at what you do. Don't wait to feel confident. Start now and you will get better, and your confidence will come along the way. Lesson 8. So for years, I used to just do what I felt like doing. My results were inconsistent and random. And then I chose a weekly schedule of doing, and now I stick to that and my results are quite consistent. The lesson is to choose a consistent, sustainable weekly rhythm of doing and to stick to it consistently, and that makes all the difference. Discipline and sustainable action help people know that you are showing up and that they can come to you for support. It also shows the universe that you mean business. Lesson 9. I used to rely on my intuition to guide me about what to offer and when. I'm an intuitive person. This is really natural for me to live according to my intuition. So I would make offers when I was inspired, and I would use my intuition to determine the branding, the price points, the launch strategy. It was all intuitive. But this kept me broke for years. This is why I created the thumbnail for this video that says, do not follow your intuitive guidance, because when I finally got mentorship to build specific business skills and I started being strategic and disciplined in my business, it took off. Spiritual women's intuition is not sufficient to build lasting, effective business structures that will sustain a reliable livelihood. You need skills. Your intuition is really a great gift when it's married with masculine structure, strategy, and disciplined action. There are some outliers who succeed without it, but usually those people are hardcore, naturally skilled with marketing and sales anyway. So even though they say they're just listening to their intuition, they're mad skilled naturally. My experience was that waiting for my intuition to deliver results ended me up feeling broke and discouraged. Lesson 10. So for years, my intuition was telling me to learn how to manage my money. And I wanted to genuinely, but I felt so blocked. I tried hiring bookkeepers. I got spreadsheets from several business friends, but it wasn't until I actually found a system to track and manage my money that really worked for me. And I created a weekly money date and systems to track and manage my money that I started to succeed financially. I was really shocked at how much money I had been wasting. And now what goes in and out on a weekly basis, I watch like a hawk. So learn to manage your money. If you have a leaky bucket, you're not an energetic match for more. And if you think about it this way, if you were to give a kid a $20 bill as a gift, and then he just tossed it beside his bedside table on the ground in a mess, how inspired would you be to give him another $20? Now, if the same kid had just taken that $20 and received it excitedly, put it in a piggy bank, tracked it in their little journal, dreamt about what to do with it, you might feel more inspired to give that kid another $20. And it's the same with the universe. If you are caring for and tending to what you receive, you're an energetic match for more. Lesson 11, I used to only allow myself to invest in one thing at a time. So I would invest in a mentorship, for example, but I would put everything else on hold. Last year, I did something different and I said, screw it. And I said yes to all the things I needed. I went $20K in debt, getting all the things, the personal trainer, supplements, a business mentor, a money mentor, an energetic mentor. And a few months later, I had my $44K sales month. Not giving yourself what you need is another way of just saying you don't believe in yourself, and it guarantees your failure. Lesson 12, being in debt used to feel so bad and it gave me feelings of shame and fear and guilt. But that $20K that I incurred in getting the things I knew were a part of my path to freedom really changed how I felt about debt, because I began to genuinely feel grateful for the debt. That $20K debt allowed me to have 2 six-figure years in a row, and it set me on a new trajectory of consistent 10K months. The debt that I created became so insignificant relative to the wealth that I created from that debt. Learn to leverage debt. Unless you have a wealth stockpile somewhere, you're going to need to get comfortable leveraging debt. Creating an online business is going to require investing in yourself and learning new skills and developing the capacity to create profit. And since you're at the beginning, if you don't have pre-existing wealth, you're either going to need to work and save or get support from someone you love or go into debt. It requires a sense of faith in yourself and where you're going. So don't go into debt out of place of fear, but if you can actually access a sense of faith, then debt can be a part of the path to freedom. And it certainly was for me. And I'm so grateful I had that courage to listen to myself and go for it. Lesson 13, I used to use social media as an outlet to express myself and to share my message, my art. And this made people fall in love with me. They related to me like I was a friend, and it built connection, but it did not build clients. When I understood how to use messaging to build an audience, and I studied how YouTube growth worked, then my growth became strategic and I attracted clients, not friends. Focus on social media for growth, not self-expression. Unless you're an algorithmic genius, you're probably going to need a mentor to show you how to grow on the internet. So if you choose Instagram, you're going to need an Instagram growth mentor. Same for podcasts, Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Don't just post and expect to grow an audience of ideal clients. It really doesn't work that way. Do you think we're overwhelming her, Karen, with all of this? I hope not. Lesson 14. I used to niche around my modalities of channeling and human design, and that took me to consistent 3 to 5K months. I couldn't get beyond that. I was really stuck there until I understood the power of an ideal client avatar. That's what allowed me to break through to consistent 10K months. Clarify who your work is for. Choose an ideal client avatar and double down on their most painful and urgent problems. This creates real connection with real people and what matters most to them. Without this, you aren't speaking intimately to something that matters and you won't make sales. Lesson 15. I used to create my offers around what I had inside of me to express my self-expression, my gifts, my inspiration. Once I clarified who my ideal client avatar was, I created an offer that reflected their deep desires and their transformation that really mattered to them, and that was priced in a way that was comfortable for them to invest in. My program, Freedom to Launch, was born, and it was created for a pre-existing real demand in the marketplace. So design your offer around a deeply desired transformation of your ideal client with a pre-existing demand, not just what is in your soul to create. Lesson 16. When I was stuck at that 3 to 5K mark, I really wanted to have something high ticket to sell. And I was tired of making hundreds of dollars. I wanted to make thousands of dollars. I felt capable of creating a deeper and more valuable, lasting transformation for people. And I wanted to work with clients who were more committed. But this meant that I could no longer rely on my readings sales page to do the selling for me. So I started to connect with people and have conversations. I learned a simple sales template that really feels good and natural and that people found valuable. And as a result of those conversations, I did start to make thousands. The lesson: sales requires real connection with real people based on trust. And the easiest way to create this connection is through one-on-one conversations and a great sales template. Once you've dialed that in and you've delivered the transformation and you've got a lot of testimonials, your sales page can then do the work for you. Lesson 17. I used to have a thriving 6-figure coaching business over 10 years ago. This was before I went on the internet, and it was amazing, but it also drained the life out of me. And even though I loved what I was doing, I ended up just wanting to lie on the couch, watch Netflix. Being so burnt out made me afraid of having success again. And so I just moved to Mexico. I taught yoga and I hid from the real world for many years. But then I felt like something was missing because I knew I wasn't making the impact that I really wanted to make. The lesson: build your business so that it's burnout proof. Burnout is in the design of your business. It's how you spend your time and live your lifestyle as you work with your clients. You can build it in a way that works for you and that's sustainable for your energy. I'm leading a masterclass on this topic called How to Burnout Proof Your Business using the Radiance Key in your human design. So to show you how to launch your dream business without fear of burnout or sacrificing your natural glow, I will link that for you in the description box below and you can sign up. Lesson 18. When I graduated from my master's degree, I told people I wanted to retire and just get paid to be myself. I was very idealistic and I knew that my life was supposed to be based in ease and flow and freedom. I really felt that. And I wasn't prepared for what it really took to put myself out there and build an audience and make sales and have a business. And the truth is, it really did take work. And I actually made it so much harder for myself by wanting it to be easy. I wasted years trying to operate through ease and flow instead of discipline and focused next steps. The lesson: be willing to work. Expect that it might not be easy. It might take a while, but be delighted when it is full of ease and flow. Lesson 19. I have been really bad at celebration and acknowledging myself. I didn't even go to my graduation for my undergrad or my master's. And I was kind of always on to the next thing. Like, why bother? Until I learned that it's actually a very damaging business habit. And I began to celebrate every win and to really take it in and feel it and appreciate it. It made everything so much more fun. I felt happier and I started to attract with more ease. The lesson is that celebration is the magical lube that makes everything run smoother in your business. And sure, you can get by without lube, but why would you? It's way more enjoyable with it. Lesson 20, the most important lesson. After I graduated, I never did get a real job. I have made lots of money and I've also lived on practically nothing for years. But in both cases, I have never given up. So the final lesson is, if you don't give up, you will never fail. You'll readjust, you'll course correct, you'll get better, you'll learn, you'll discover, and you can keep fine-tuning and tweaking for better results, but don't give up. I help spiritual women to finally launch the business that they've been dreaming of, and to book a call with me and see if Freedom to Launch might be a fit for you. I will link that in the description. And I'll also link it right here on the screen for you. And on that note, this marks the beginning of this new YouTube channel. Thank you for watching this video and being a part of the magic. You can hit the button here to subscribe, and I will see you again soon here on my channel. Much love.